Hello guys. Hope you are doing well. Today video is about ancient Egypt, and let's start the video without wasting any time. Three kingdom periods, Old, Middle, and New, make up a large portion of Egypt's history, with shorter interludes between the kingdoms. The word intermediate here refers to the fact that Egypt was situated between strong kingdoms throughout this time and was not a single political entity. The roots of Egyptian civilization had been established for thousands of years prior to the Old Kingdom period, when sedentary agriculture became more and more popular among those living near the Nile. This led to urbanization and specialized, non-agricultural commercial activities. Signs of human settlement in Egypt date back tens of thousands of years. Widespread settlement in the region started around 6000 BCE, however. During this period, the Sahara Desert grew larger. Certain scientists believe that this expansion resulted from a minor adjustment in Earth's tilt. Others have investigated alterations in rainfall patterns, yet the exact reasons remain somewhat unclear. The primary outcome of the Sahara's expansion for human society was that it drove people nearer to the Nile River in pursuit of dependable water supplies. Besides the delta area, where the river widens as it approaches the sea, the majority of habitation in the Nile Valley was limited to just a few miles from the river. The Nile River experienced annual floods. These floods occurred so consistently that the ancient Egyptians organized their three seasons, inundation, or flooding, growth, and harvest, around deposit deposited a fresh layer of nutrient-rich soil every year. This yearly flooding was essential to agriculture. The soil's nutrient level was severely reduced in years when the Nile did not flood, and the likelihood of food shortages significantly increased. Food supplies also have political implications, and droughts most likely played a role in the breakdown of Egyptian political cohesion at the end of the Old and Middle Kingdoms. The majority of scholars who study this era believe that a leader named Narmer or Menes, sources are not clear on whether these were the same person, united Egypt politically around 3100 BCE when he took control of both Upper and Lower Egypt. Despite the fact that we do not know the exact dates and events, ancient Egypt is also well known for hieroglyphics writing, in which they used to draw pictures to convey meanings and sounds, first appeared. The Egyptian state needed better record-keeping techniques to organize and run an ever larger state, and as its power and influence increased, it was better equipped to gather resources for ambitious projects. Egyptians also started to write literature during the Middle Kingdom. Some writing was preserved on clay or stone, while others were preserved on papyrus, a substance derived from reed fiber that resembles paper. Although papyrus is extremely brittle, some papyrus documents have survived because of Egypt's hot and dry climate. After being translated in the early 1800s, hieroglyphic writing also became a valuable resource for historians researching ancient Egypt. More people needed bigger food supplies as rulers gained power because they could better organize labor and resources to build large projects. Projects like levees and canals that increased agricultural output gained importance. The methods of irrigation included digging canals to channel water to fields as crops grew and constructing mud levees, which were walls of compacted dirt that directed the yearly flooding onto farmland and kept it away from residential areas. Wealthy and influential people, known as elites, started constructing bigger tombs that served as forerunners to the pyramids. The growing gap between Egyptian society's elite and common people was symbolized by these tombs. Only the powerful and wealthy could afford and be deemed worthy of such elaborate. Around 1550 BCE, the New Kingdom period of Egyptian history began with the expulsion of the Hyksos from Egypt and the restoration of centralized political control. This period was Egypt's most prosperous time and marked the peak of its power. Also in this period, Hatshepsut, Egypt's most famous female ruler, established trade networks that helped build the wealth of Egypt and commissioned hundreds of construction projects and pieces of statuary, as well as an impressive mortuary temple at Deir el-Bahari. She also ordered repairs to temples that had been neglected or damaged during the period of Hyksos rule. The term pharaoh, which originally referred to the king's palace, became a form of address for the king himself during this period, further emphasizing the idea of divine kingship. Religiously, the pharaohs associated themselves with the god Amun-Ra, while still recognizing other deities. In the mid-1300s BCE, one pharaoh attempted to alter this tradition when he chose to worship Aten exclusively and even changed his name to Akhenaten in honor of that god. Some scholars interpret this as the first instance of monotheism, or the belief in a single god. This change did not survive beyond Akhenaten's rule, however. New Kingdom Egypt reached the height of its power under the pharaohs Seti I and Ramesses II, who fought to expand Egyptian power against the Libyans to the west and the Hittites to the north. The city of Kadesh on the border between the two empires was a source of conflict between the Egyptians and the Hittites, and they fought several battles over it, ultimately agreeing to the world's first known peace treaty. The costs of war, increased droughts, famine, civil unrest, and official corruption ultimately fragmented Egypt into a collection of locally governed city-states. Taking advantage of this political division, a military force from the Nubian kingdom of Kush in the south conquered and united Lower Egypt, Upper Egypt, and Kush. The Kushites were then driven out of Egypt in 670 BCE by the Assyrians, who established a client state, a political entity that is self-governing but pays tribute to a more powerful state, in Egypt. In 656 BCE, Egypt was again reunited and broke away from Assyrian control. The country experienced a period of peace and prosperity until 525 BCE, when the Persian king Cambyses defeated the Egyptian rulers and took the title of pharaoh for himself, along with his title as king of Persia. That's it for today, guys. I hope you learned something new, and please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Goodbye, friends.